So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Friday Night Chats with Dr. Karen C. Love. Through F&C, we explore organizational leadership, strategy, data mining, cultural competency, applied decision-making, and cross-generational challenges. How does this discipline teach us to recognize patterns and trends, identify deficiencies in the process, communicate effectively? Are we creating a narrative for C-level people? How does leadership equip us and prepare us for our professional careers? Tonight, we will look at leadership from a different perspective. Leadership influences, inspires, intellectually challenges, and empathizes with the whole community. Tonight, we welcome Diana L. Clopton to the chat room. Diana Clopton lives in Barrington, Illinois. She holds a BS in finance from the Geese College of Business at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and an MBA from Northwestern University in Evanston. With specialty disciplines in analytical consulting, management and strategy, and marketing. Diana's professional experience includes roles in associate directorship, consumer marketing, senior director, brand manager, senior auditor, marketing innovation, marketing strategy, and innovation. Diana serves as treasurer of Trinity Baptist Community Church. She is a ministry leader in dance, music, and worship. She co-manages the media ministry. She is also the director and chief marketing officer of the Love Family Christian Foundation. Diana is married to Eddie Clopton, Esquire, and general counsel of Verizon Wireless. Diana has two boys, Evan and Avery, and a dog named Nico. Diana is currently running for District 220 as a school board member. Her platform is EASY, E-A-S-Y. It stands for Excellence, Acceptance, Stewardship, and You. Welcome to the platform, Diana.
Thank you. Happy to be here today.
Thank you. Well, Diana, first of all, happy International Women's Month. You are the first African-American woman. You're an independent. You are endorsed by the Daily Herald to run for school board election in Barrington, Illinois. What has that experience been like for you?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about it. I tell people, I feel like I was almost called to run for a position on the school board. It's something that's been in my heart on and off for the past 2 years. And I had a nudging. And, once I got in here, I'm like, okay, now I'm here. There's so many great things about campaigning. I've really enjoyed meeting people across the district, across different corners of the district, and just hearing the different perspectives of so many people that live here in the community that I hadn't met before. And so it's been really just enlightening. People are really hopeful and optimistic, and they have, visions for what they want to see in a school board and visions for their kids and how they're going to grow up. And so there's been so many positive things that I've really enjoyed about campaigning. I'd say on the flip side, there's been campaigning is hard. It's really hard, and it's uncomfortable that there's been a lot of misinformation, and people are really comfortable, I say, trading in misinformation and lies about people, and feel like it's okay to online bully, which is never okay. But that just makes me double down on the importance of building an inclusive community. And that's why it's a part of my platform, because, there are kids struggling in this district, and they're struggling with dealing with bullying. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable for that to be in our community. So it just really does, fuel my fight even more so to really fight to have that inclusive community, because until we can come together, we're not going to be able to solve some of the challenges. And so we need to really get back to conversation and not confrontation. And I'm happy to be that bridge builder. And that's what I aspire to be.
Yeah, I can hear the passion and the tenor of your voice. My goodness, that's excellent. Why are you running for the Board of Education?
Yeah, I kind of said it a little bit before, but I've noticed just in our society, we've become so polarized, and, people are having a really hard time coming together to solve challenges. And for me, that really bothers me, because we as a country are so powerful and great because we have different perspectives, and we share those different perspectives, and we come together and we collaborate to make really amazing things happen in this country. And we've kind of lost a little bit of that because we're so on such extreme ends, and we're not willing to come together and meet together. And so for me, I wanted to run because I believe with the right leadership, we can really unify what's great about, let's take it down from the country level, but unify what's great about our community and what's great about our district, and really come together and solve some of the challenges that we have. I mean, we're still dealing with issues like learning loss, for our kids. Our kids were home for a couple of years, and those are really meaningful problems that we need to be able to solve. But if we're not willing to meet in the middle, we're never going to get anywhere. And so I really want to be that unifying voice that can bring people together.
That's good. That's good. Now, what particular experiences have you prepared to serve as a school board member?
I've had a lot of different. Oh yeah, I mean, I think I bring a lot of things to the table. The thing I'll say most is really learning agility. I've had a lot of different roles in my career. I've been in finance roles, I've been in sales roles, I've been in marketing roles, and I've worked across a number of different industries. And the skills that I've really kind of honed have been around strategic thinking, problem solving, innovation, and collaboration. And I've been able to do a lot of really great work in the experiences that I have. So I feel like I'm bringing a little bit of a different perspective and background to the board that I can lean to the board. But I combine that with the passion that I have for these kids and just seeing them grow up in, a great academic, school experience. I want them to grow up and have great, meaningful experiences at school. And I'm really passionate about that, and I've always been very collaborative and close to the teachers that my kids have had. I've always been, in the classrooms, serving as a room mom, even as a working mom, trying to get there for parties. And so I believe that just the combination of the skill set that I bring to the table and then the passion I have to serve will really make me a valuable board member. And listening, I think that's the biggest thing. I'm a good listener. I'm not quick to make decisions based on emotion or based on a singular point of view. I think to be a good listener, to be a good board member, you really have to listen to diverse perspectives so that you can come up with a good solution.
His leadership brings about a level of maturity that others do not have the capacity to endure, or they refuse to. And so those easy answers are not always the right answer. So thank you for sharing that. Now, your pillars are EASY, excellence, acceptance, stewardship in you. Could you share with the community your vision, your ideations, and the execution of your easy pillars?
Excuse me. Yeah, sure. So maybe I'll kind of break them down into buckets. So
Okay.
the E is for excellence. It's about academic excellence. Many people in the community moved here because of the strong school system. It's a big district. It's a district with a lot of resources. And so there are experiences that kids get in our district that a lot of districts don't have. I didn't have access to the things that we had in our district growing up. And so it always has to be rooted in the academic experience that these kids are getting, because at the end of the day, we want them to leave Barrington and go be whatever they want to be. And it's our job as a school. It's the school job as a school and the parent support system to enable our kids to be able to get there. And so I'm committed to making sure that Barrington continues to deliver the best, the most innovative, well-rounded educational experiences that'll lead to that personal success for all students in our district. And I think this means, one of the things that I love is that personalized learning approach that they have in the district. And I think that gives the ability to flex up and challenge those that need a little bit of more of a challenge, because you don't want them to be bored. But it also allows you to lean into students that need a little bit more support. And I'm committed to continuing that. I think the A is for acceptance. And that's really about building that inclusive community where every child feels physically and psychologically safe. Because we know that when students feel empowered, to achieve students feel empowered to achieve their greatness when they feel safe, valued, and understood. One of the things that we hear from, as talking to many parents, is that there are kids that don't feel comfortable in the school because they're dealing with, bullies, because, people are people are making fun of them for whatever reason because they're different. And that's not right. That's not right. And so we want to feel that kids can be in safe environments and safe learning environments where they don't have to worry about, somebody messing with them because they're different, and they can really focus on their academics, because that's what's going to help enable them and it's going to be a catalyst for them to achieve their greatest. The S is for stewardship. I'm committed to thoughtful financial decision making. The continuation of our AAA bond rating. We have a really strong, financially stable district, And I want to make sure that we continue to be thoughtful in the decisions that we're making from a budgetary perspective, but that's going to mean trade-offs. So you don't want to cut the budget and then you deprioritize things that, really make our district unique and distinct from other districts. And you have to balance it because it's those unique and distinct programs that help our district remain a really strong district, which enables our property values. And if you start cutting some of those programs, or you start cutting, you're cutting class sizes and you've got bigger class sizes, then those are the things that are going to impact everybody in the community, not just the students. So we have to be really mindful about the trade-offs that we're making. And then the last one is you. And that's really about my commitment to respectful partnership with all stakeholders. The board sits between the broader community and the educational community. And it's our job to reflect the values of the broader community, but also be really good partners with the staff, the administration, and all key stakeholders so that we're working together to take the values and the outcomes that the community wants to see for their kids, but then execute them within the school. So it's really important that we have strong partnership across the community and all stakeholders.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that question. I noticed that with Framework 220, on part of their strategic plan, I looked at the definition of the district stakeholders, who they are, and it includes the Board of Education members, the parents, the staff members, the students, and community members as well. And collectively, they're developing a shared future vision for Barrington 220. So how do you envision yourself playing a part of this future framing for District 220?
Yeah, I think it's a really great time because the Framework 220 is in the process of going through the steps of how it'll be executed, and it'll be voted on how we implement the pillars that are so important to the framework. So it's actually kind of an exciting time because this is the time where teachers are going to put forward, options that fit within each of those pillars. One of the things they talked about on the last board meeting was this flexible learning, which combines your core academics with like a real world kind of experience that kids can get. And it really does help them get this more well-rounded, robust, experience that is unique. You know what I mean? You're still getting your core education, but then you're getting experiences that are going to allow you to get kind of real world experiences so that when you're going to college, you're set up for success because you kind of dipped your toe in some of that, which is really neat. And so, I think it's a great time now. And how I see myself being involved is the first thing I'll do, just because it's the first thing I do in any job or in any, moment, is I want to look at the data. I want to look at the data. I want to look at the strategy. I want to see, the components of, how it's going to come together. And then we'll start talking to the community about the right way to implement some of this so that we're getting the feedback across all stakeholders to make sure that we're all marching together as a community and getting behind what the community has voted on as the important pillars.
Thank you. Now, I wanted to ask you about data and how the school board monitors data and how it's communicated to the constituents, but I believe you've covered that. That's the desire as a potential school board member. So thank you for that. Now,
yeah, I think I think it's so important to be transparent. I think I listened to a lot of the concerns of parents, and at the root of what I'm hearing, it feels like there are a number of parents that don't feel heard, and some of those are really loud parents and some of those are really quiet parents, and they're feeling like they're not heard on different things. And so I think it's really important to not only have transparent communication, but it's important that we're talking to different areas of the district and different parents in the district that might have different perspectives, so that we are using data and facts to support a lot of these decisions, and they're representative of the entire community, as we're putting things forward.
In your previous experience dealing with difficult challenges with multiple stakeholders, how would you approach decision-making as a board member?
Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Like I like to learn and I like to listen. So I think those are two really important things. You have to look at the data. You have to understand, where the challenges are. And I think listening is so important because many times the problem that's being communicated isn't the actual problem that we need to solve.
Mm.
And so I think the more you can get into the why behind the why, the why behind the why, you can actually solve the root of what the issue is, because what tends to happen, I mean, we do this when, I work in the consumer space. And so, there's a little bit of psychology to the marketing that we're doing. But, when you listen to, let's just say when I worked at Pepsi, when you listen to, consumers of your product, and they tell you what they want, you really have to get to the why behind that so that you're solving the need. That's what you do with innovation, is that you have to listen to not what they're saying, but like their behaviors behind it
Yes.
to really diagnose what the issue is. That way you're actually solving their actual problem and not solving what they think their problem is.
Mhm. Diana, is there any opportunity for people development or team development on the school board? If not, is that something that would benefit any school board of education member?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pretty rigorous training that occurs for new school board members. From talking to previous school board members of the past, it just sounds like you spend the first couple of years really learning how to be a good school board member, because it's not like anything that you've done before. It's very different than corporate. It's very different than other roles. And so you really do spend the first little bit of time trying to learn how to be a good, effective board member, because it's a different role. You're not executing, you're in charge. It's governance, you're writing policy.
Yes.
It's at a different level than kind of more tactical execution. And so there is pretty rigorous training that if I'm afforded the opportunity, I'm looking forward to flexing that learning agility and diving in.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. What have you enjoyed doing this political campaign?
We talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but I think it's just meeting the people in real life. It's felt really nice getting out and talking to people. And I think I've been in, more spaces than I ever thought I would imagine. And it's nice because I'll go and I'll meet some people there, and then they'll tell people, and then they'll invite me to something else. And, I've kind of got this say yes to everything, because I want to meet as many people as I can and be in as many spaces as I can. So I think that's what I've really enjoyed, is that, there's so many people here in Barrington that have different perspectives. And it's really been pretty phenomenal meeting people and hearing their perspectives and their passions.
As an African American woman, what would you bring to the Board of Education?
I think I would even say as Diana, I mean, there's a lot of components to me. I'm an African American woman. I'm a working mother. I have 2 kids in the district. I think I'm not the loudest person. So I feel like what I bring is I'm a listener, and I'm going to listen and try to fight for every voice, because every voice deserves to be reflected and represented. And so it's so important to me that we're talking to multiple stakeholders in this district, because we all are paying taxes in this district to for us to have great schools. And there are a lot of voices in the community that don't feel heard, because
Yeah.
they're not, they're a little intimidated to come into board meetings and get in the 3-minute hot seat. That's not comfortable. And so for me, I want to be able to reflect the voices of multiple stakeholders and maybe people that are haven't been heard in the past. And for me to be able to do that, I'm going to have to go out. I'm going to have to go out to those spaces and maybe have smaller roundtables with people so they have comfortable conversations. And then I'm able to raise that up as a board member, and then holding people accountable for stuff that may be happening in the district that should not be happening in the district.
Mm-hmm. Good, good. I bring that up as a woman of color, because sometimes just because you're a woman of color, there are other things, stigmas attached to you. And so I was just wondering, how do you combat that? Because like you said, you are Diana. This is what you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you continually combat that when there's a profile, because of the presuppositions that's already out there? That can't be easy. Would you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, I think the more people get to know me, the more they understand the heart of Diana, and I'll say with this race that there's been a lot of people trying to attach me to certain things, because I don't know, they make assumptions about me based on, whatever.
Mhm.
But I'm Diana, and I say that every time. I think I've said that on almost every forum that I've been on. I'm Diana. I independently represent Diana, and I'm going to be true to my values. I don't align to. I don't blindly align to anything. I do not blindly align to anything. I use data and facts and my core values, and that's how I make decisions. I listen, and that's how I make decisions. I don't blindly align to anything. And so, the more people that meet me, the more they understand who I am. And it's okay to be unique. I've said that too. It's okay to be unique and different. We don't have to be the same. We do not have to be the same. If we're all the same, we're just going to be stagnant. We're not going to go anywhere. So let's just appreciate that. The only thing that's the same about us is we're human, but we're all unique human beings, and we all bring different talents to the table. So let's celebrate that, and let's lean on each other to use those talents to do great things.
And celebrate the intellectual diversity. So collaboratively, you can build something greater. I like that. I like that. So Diana, what are your parting words? You only gave me about 30 minutes. So thank you for your time. But what are your parting words as people are considering the candidates for the school board?
I would say I would strongly encourage people to listen, research the candidates, listen to some of the forums. There have been a number of forums where you can get really great information about what candidates truly value. Ask good questions. For me, I tried to make it really easy for people with my easy principle. There's a lot of things that I think are very important for this district. And so if you support me, if you support academic excellence, inclusive community, thoughtful financial decision making, and then strong community partnership, then vote for me. I ask for your vote, and I believe that I can really be a bridge builder and unify. I don't want to cause division. And I really do want to unify us so that we can get to doing great work for the district, because that's what it's about.
Okay.
Early voting starts Monday.
Well, thank you, Diana, for joining the platform. Your interview was very insightful. So you have some other venues that's coming up this weekend. Would you like to share those with the community?
Sure. So tomorrow morning, I'm having another coffee and conversation. That's my favorite, is coffee and conversation. So we're having one at Biltmore at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, hosted by a dear friend, Andy Haley. And then at 11:30, we're having another coffee and conversation, a smaller meet and greet. That's going to be at Pepper Park Coffee House. And then at 5:30, I've been invited to come to a Rock the Vote rally, where myself and other independent candidates are going to be there, just with booths set up, and it'll be a really kind of laid back event, but you'll get to meet a number of different candidates at that event, so that we can talk to you about our platforms, and encourage people to get out and vote.
Yes, that's excellent. You can actually see Diana's interview on YouTube and FridayNightChats.org by the weekend. I'll say by the weekend. You can also hear her podcast on iHeart, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and Apple Podcasts as well. And you can also see it on LinkedIn. That it will be posted on LinkedIn on Diana's page as well. Thank you all for joining. It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Diana, for taking the time to just sit and chat, come into the chat room and just have a conversation about your goals and your perspectives. We learned a lot tonight. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. I am going to